Welcome, listeners, to tonight's edition of Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley and Corey.
Hello, everybody. Are you ready for a wonderful show tonight? All about you.
Unlocking Your Truth is a talk show about metaphysics and spirituality. And every week we have a different topic that we talk about, usually. But tonight is a bit different.
Why is that, Dr. Lesley?
Yeah, because tonight we're dedicating the show to our listeners, and it's really, the whole show is open to our listeners' questions, and we usually only have the final part of the show for that, but tonight we're doing it the whole show, and so that's going to be very exciting. But
So
before
get your questions ready early.
Before I go any further, of course, I have to say that we're broadcasting on 101.7 FM across the Fraser Valley from the unceded territory of the Stolo Nation from CIVL. So that's the terrestrial radio show, but the show is also a podcast on all the major podcasting platforms, such as iTunes and so forth. But you can also go to my website, drlesleyphillips.com, and you will find all the many past episodes there. And you can also join us live. You can be a member of our live studio audience by joining Awaken Your Psychic Abilities Facebook group or following my YouTube channel, which is Lesley Phillips. Okay, so we've got some people watching already. So listeners, it's up to you to create tonight's show with your questions. And you can ask about anything. So you can ask about things that you are curious about, things that you're interested in when it comes to psychic abilities, intuition, energy healing, any of that. We can also ask questions about yourself, your own psychic abilities, your own experiences, or even about things that are going on in your life, like your relationships and such. So it's an open book evening. So I invite you all to just go ahead and post your questions. This is your chance to co-create this show. So I'm not doing a formal teaching this evening. I'm just rather going to respond to your questions, and the show will create itself out of the questions that you ask. How exciting is that?
I think that's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, so
we should get started.
Yes. Do we have any questions yet, Corey?
None as of yet. Did you have any interesting readings this week that you can share, Dr. Lesley?
Oh
Or
gosh.
wait for people.
Yeah, well, I guess but when I give a reading, it's private personal information of the readee, obviously.
That's why I asked if there's anything you could share.
Yeah. Well, let me think about it. I do so many readings, and the information isn't my information, so I tend to channel it in the reading, and then I don't really carry it forward into my life. So I kind of almost have to remind myself who I've done a reading of to do that. But yeah. You think that I should be, because here's the thing, I'm in an altered state of consciousness when I do a reading, and my goal is not to collect everyone else's information. It's the opposite. I want to be a clean, clear channel, deliver the information to help them, and then walk away with my energy reset to my own energy. So, I don't have anything that's sticking out in my mind for that reason. Well, because I don't think about it afterwards.
But while we wait for a couple more questions to come in, what's a trance feel like that you do? What you mention it quite often, but I would think that people have different experiences of trances.
Well, so I would look exactly the same. So if you were talking to me while I was in trance versus talking to me when I'm not in trance, you wouldn't notice a difference, not really. I would notice a difference if I tried to stand up and walk around, because I'm basically altering my chakra system to focus away from physical reality so that I can focus more on spiritual reality. So it makes me less tuned into the physical reality. So we'll say it that way. Yeah.
Okay. Our first question is from Paige. Paige says, could you tell me what I need to work on in general, psychic blockages and my next steps in life?
Psychic blockages. So I'm assuming Paige is talking about her psychic abilities, if she's saying psychic blockages. Okay, well, let me tune into Paige. And I assume Paige is on the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Okay. Psychic blockages. I'm actually seeing, Paige, you have really bright, radiant energy, a lot of power, a lot of energy, a lot of information, but you're not grounded enough, so you're not really in touch with it all, and you're not really channeling. Well, you're channeling maybe a small proportion of it, but there's so much more than you're aware of. And so it looks to me like the biggest thing that can help you is grounding. So what would we say the psychic blockage is? It's not exactly a blockage, it's just like a little bit of guidance that the blockage is that you're ungrounded, or the issue is that you're ungrounded or not as grounded as you might need to be. There's also a very slight misalignment as well, and I'll just see if I can see what that's to do with. Well, the clue is in the question, because it feels the other thing. One of the reasons why you're ever so slightly out of alignment is it looks like you're projecting all that power, much of that power and energy, into the future. And it's funny because in the questions you said next steps. So I think that you're trying to be in the future, and your body can't be in the future. Your body can only be in the present time. So it looks like you're very keen to advance and to move forward on your path. But bear in mind, you can only be where you are right here, right now, in the body, in the path that you're walking this lifetime. So we want to say two things: the grounding and bringing yourself more into present time, because then all that power is then concentrated where you are, and then you become the radiant point from which you are creating your reality now. If your energy isn't connected with you where you are in present time, you're not going to be as powerful of a manifester as if you can be in alignment in the way that I'm suggesting. So those would be the things that I would say to Paige. Bring yourself into the present moment. Mindfulness practices will help you with that, and anchor more of your light, your power, your energy through your physical system, and grounding will help you with that. Next question.
Next question, Dr. Lesley. This is from Lorraine. And Lorraine says, how can you tell if someone's energy is real, honest, or true, or just a manipulation?
Okay. So I know I always talk about my psychic development courses a lot. I do teach within my Unlock Your Intuition course exactly how to do that, exactly how to tell if somebody is honest and authentic, or if somebody is not. But let's see what we can say to you. Here, give me a moment. So this is from Lorraine. How can you tell if somebody's energy is real and honest or true, or manipulative? Well, one simple thing is, how do you feel? And if you tune into your heart, how do you feel? Okay, not your thoughts, but do you feel drawn to that person, or do you feel repelled by that person? That will give you a clue. Once you've developed your psychic abilities, once you've developed your clairvoyance, then you can very easily see it. It was very clear to you in that case. But if you don't have those abilities at your fingertips right now, because what I usually do is take people through a process of helping them develop their clairvoyance, and then teach them some tools and techniques that involve using their clairvoyance to be able to look at the question, is somebody lying to me, or is somebody telling the truth to me? So I would just say, trust your intuition. So don't listen to your thoughts, your intellect, but how you feel. But when I say how you feel, not how you might be triggered or not triggered, but tune into your heart. Your heart's a bit like a magnet, and the two ends of a magnet, aren't there? There's one end of the magnet that will repel and another end of the magnet that will attract. So is your heart feeling attracted or repulsed? Let that be a kind of a compass for you. Thank you, Lorraine. That would be ready for the next question.
I know. This is from Carol. Oh, by the way, Paige says, thank you. I do struggle with being grounded 100%. Oh, my mouse is stuck here. Okay, this is from Carol. How do you know what gets in the way between you and God?
So, I was just working. That's funny, because Corey asked me earlier, what was interesting that you worked on today? And I was working with somebody about helping them to clear what was getting in between them and God. Now, Carol is in my medical intuition class. And so if you ask me that question in the class, I will give you a bit more information. But given that we're just on the radio show, and not everybody knows all of the things that you know, I'll answer it from that level. So how do you know what gets in between you and God? Yeah, and I kind of find that difficult to answer without the, if I was talking to you in terms of you and your psychic awareness, I would probably find it easy to answer. So give me a moment to see how to answer this question. So we can say it this way to you, Carol. You can see clairvoyantly. Okay, you can sense energy. So you can ask that question to yourself, and you can see clairvoyantly if there's any, and sense if there's any energy that's coming between you and God. And I would actually say there actually is. So you want to look above your crown chakra and look and see for yourself there that it looks like there is a kind of like a plane of energy, like a flat plane of energy, it looks like it's relating to, and it's funny because it's kind of not in your intellect, it's hanging above up here, but it's almost like a little square grid, and it's relating to well, it makes me sort of think about a little maze, like a little maze where you go round and round in circles, and you go down dead ends, and you retrace your way back. And so it makes me think about the intellectual mind and how the intellectual mind can drive us nuts round in circles and all sorts of convoluted belief systems and thoughts, and you know, this belief contradicts that belief and all of that. So in your case specifically, it looks like it's a combination of getting caught in your intellect and also a collection of beliefs that you have. So that's not answering the question, how do you know? How do you know? Well, you tune in using your intuition. And so lucky for you, you're someone who's been training in developing your intuition. So that's how you would know. You would look at it clairvoyantly. And there are lots of techniques that you can use to help you clear that energy between you and God. And for anyone listening to the radio show, you could simply use the grounding technique to release what's in between you and God, if that is what you wanted to do. So hopefully that answers your question in sufficient detail. Next question.
Next question. This is from SG. SG says, I keep getting signs that I need to do more with my life and start living, but it's always been hard for me to choose a direction because I'm afraid of choosing the wrong path, whether it's a career, taking a class, etc. Does Spirit have any guidance for me on this situation?
Yeah, okay, well, let's take a look at that. Yeah, so you're so afraid of making the wrong choice, aren't you, like you said? And that fear just freezes you. Fear is such a low vibration. There's no movement in fear. We don't change when we're afraid. We just stay stuck in the same place. And so there is no wrong path. There's just the choice that you make. So that's the first thing. There's no wrong path. So it doesn't make sense to be scared of making the wrong choice, because there's no wrong choice. There's so many different choices that we're all faced with all the time. And your choice will reflect a result back at you, and you will learn from that. And you might like the reflection, you might not like the reflection. If you don't like the reflection, then you change again, you make a change again, and that's how you learn. That's how things work on this planet. We're not here to make the perfect. If we were just making the perfect choice after the perfect choice after the perfect choice, and our life was just perfect, what are we doing here on planet Earth? We might as well stay in spirit where everything is like that. So part of the game here is to be in linear time and to be faced with these decisions and these choices, and to have the fun of making the decisions and the choices and the results of that reflected back at us, so that we can learn. So again, what I would say is what I said to the previous lady, that when you're faced with a choice, which one feels the most exciting? Which one feels the most compelling? What does your heart tell you? Which one is giving you the strongest pull? And then follow that one. So use your heart as a compass. Use your heart as a compass. And, also work on, because to make a choice is to make a change. But if you're afraid of change, if you're afraid of that, you've got to deal with the fear. So again, for you, because you're listening to the radio show, there is a free meditation on my website which will teach you how to ground. And as you're a regular listener, you've probably downloaded it already. So focus on eliminating fear. Focus on releasing fear down your grounding. And on that note, we are going to go for a short break for some ads, and we'll see you back after these few messages. Welcome back, everybody. You're listening to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley and with Corey, and we're having an easy, laid-back show. And there's no formal teaching this evening, but we're kind of meandering and developing a theme based on what the live audience asks. And one of the themes that seems to be coming up is use your heart as a compass. Use your heart as a compass. Your heart will tell you. You know, your heart is kind of magnetic, and you can feel your heart's affinity in terms of what you are drawn to or what you are repulsed by. And so, yeah, the theme so far is using the inner compass of your heart center. But we'll see, maybe it will evolve to something else in the second part of the show. So do we have any further questions?
No, see everybody next week. No, got lots of them, Dr. Lesley. This one, well, just a comment from Lorraine. She said, thank you. I appreciate what I can do now until I develop my psychic abilities. Then feedback from Carol. She says, thank you, Dr. Lesley. I do feel like I'm going around thinking over these 2 weeks. That gets in the way of me tuning into my intuition for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is from Anil. Neil says, I have a question. It may have already been answered before. Please forgive me if it seems rather stupid. The question is, how can one move forward and be happy with what he or she has instead of obsessing?
I wonder what you're obsessing about. Okay. That's a really good question. And, you know, we were sort of alluding to it a little bit already, but things can't change, or at least they can't change very easily until you accept what is now. So long as you are resisting what is now, you will stay stuck in what is now. Now, you're always going to be in what is now, because that's all we have actually is the present moment. But, you know, if you're in a situation and you're saying, I don't like this situation, I want more, or I want something different, but you're saying, because this sucks and I hate this and I don't like this and I wake up every day and oh, here I am again and I don't like this, then you are going to stay stuck there longer because you are not in a state of acceptance of what is. So you've gone one step further than that and said, well, how can I be happy with what is? How can I be satisfied with what is? And that actually is the key to changing. That is the key to changing the situation that you're in now to something that you might prefer, is to cultivate a state of acceptance. And I don't know what it is that you're obsessing about, but it could be that you're obsessing about something that you don't like or something that you'd rather have. So how can you get out of that state of being resistant to what is? So again, I would have lots of tools and techniques to teach you, but for now, you can release the resistance and the obsessiveness down your grounding cord. And the other thing is to just surrender, allow, trust, surrender, move yourself into a state of surrender. I'll see if anything else comes up. Yeah, I do see you sort of saying, I don't like my life and I want to step out of this situation. And it sort of seems to me like you feel like you're trapped in a particular situation, like there's almost like there's walls around you, or you're in a kind of a jail cell. And so it also has to do with your beliefs, because you're believing certain things can't and won't change. Certain things can't and won't change. I want them to change, but I don't believe that they can or will change, especially if it's to do with somebody else or some set of circumstances that appear to be outside of you, because then you're saying, I have no power over that. I can't change that. It's stuck that way. And what you're not realizing is you have all the power, because you are the creator of your own reality, and you create your own reality through your beliefs. So you need to change your beliefs. You need to change your beliefs so that you believe that things can change, and then surrender and accept what is. And that is the key for things to shift for you. Hope that helps you, Anil.
Sure will. And folks, if you're enjoying the show, please just give us a like or a thumbs up, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube. Thank you. And Brian, this is from Brian. Dr. Lesley, I wonder if you could tell me about the trip I'm planning to take this week to go home for Christmas. Though it feels intuitive, I've had some issues getting all the pieces together. I feel it's important and might relate to the vibrational shifts and growth I've gone through. Of course, I'd like to know if I'll get back up and back okay, but I'm wondering if my guides have any message for me, anything I need to know about this trip. By the way, as I had my car in last week to be looked at to schedule an appointment for repairs to make it safe for the trip, I saw the truck outside. Its license plate on the front read Dr. Lesley. Nothing else. Nothing
No,
else. No numbers. I thought that was quite a synchronicity.
that's hilarious. But I wonder where do you live, Brian, where there's this Dr. Lesley driving around?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Okay, so I don't know where you live now or where you're heading to. It sounds like you're going to drive. I don't know, maybe you're going to go through some cold weather and that's why you're worried. So let's take a look at you with your question about going home for Christmas and the energy around that. Yeah. Well, it does absolutely relate to the vibrational shifts that you've been going through, because you're changed. You're changed. You're a different person, and you are having a different perspective. And so it looks like you're concerned really about how the new version of you is going to be greeted and what it's going to be like. You know, are you going to feel further apart from the people that you're going to visit? Will they be able to see you? Will they get you? And perhaps even will you be able to tolerate them? So it's all of those kinds of questions that I'm seeing. And I'm seeing that your energy is different to your family members, that you have cultivated what we might call a higher vibration. And it looks like you're sort of going, am I going to have to lower my vibration to fit in? And, you know, what will that feel like? And will that be sucky? And what I would say to you is that see yourself as a way shower, you know, show up proud to be who you are. And yes, you're different. And yes, some of them will be, wow, look at Brian, he's different. But it looks to me that generally it looks more likely to me to be a positive experience, actually, because people have a choice. When a loved one shifts, they have the opportunity to shift as well, or to try and crush and quash and shut the other person down because they're not ready to look at themselves and make the change themselves. But I'm seeing that your family, or at least whoever's the main person there, looks very positively oriented towards the version of Brian that shows up. And we also say this, as you change, then who you attract is different, and you might even attract different versions of the people that you know. So get in present time with the people and don't harbor a or what it was like last time you went there, or how so and so is always, I don't know, doing this or saying that, or you always end up in an argument with Uncle Tom or whatever it is. Just like leave the past behind, be in present time, and be yourself, and see yourself as, well, just see yourself as Brian, but you don't have to worry about how you're going to be perceived, I would say. Why should you be anything other than you? Hope that helps, Brian.
I hope so too.
Yes.
And yeah, Brian, Christmas is the toughest time of the year for a lot of people, even though it's a fun time of the year for a lot of people. Christmas, even if people are having fun, it's still Christmas, because there seems to be always sort of like a competitive nature in a sense at Christmas. That's because we've allowed it to become so monetized and spirit, and as opposed to a spiritual time of the year, which it can be. Not to saying necessarily a Christian spiritual, but just a spiritual time. It's a good reflective time. This is a response, Dr. Lesley, from Anil, and she says, nobody ever said accurately about me in such a short time. I could relate to everything you said. Thank you, Lesley, Dr. Lesley, for such great words. And she also thanks me. Thank you, Corey, for presenting this show for all of us.
You're very welcome.
Yes, you are, definitely. By the way, folks, don't be shy tonight. There's lots of time to ask questions. And even if you've asked one question or even two, just throw out another question if you have questions you want to ask. Because we're here. Right, Dr. Lesley?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, this is from Shin Wei. She says, how does one combat jealous energy from others, even when we go out of our way to be nice to others? Do certain people attract jealous vibes? If yes, is it a fault of their past lives?
That's a good question. Okay, so jealousy, another word for jealousy is competition. It's a form of competition when somebody is jealous of you. When somebody is jealous of you, in a way, they're putting you on some kind of a pedestal, because they're saying, well, she has something I want, or she's doing something I wish I was doing. She's better than I am in some way. So they're in competition with you. And that competition level is very, very invalidating. And it's invalidating to you and to them, because it means that they are not seeing you as you are, because they're putting you on kind of on a pedestal. And they're not seeing themselves as they are, because they're seeing themselves as lesser than. They're feeling shitty because they're actually not feeling good enough. They're feeling you're better than they are in some way. And it's actually not true, because each individual human being is unique, and it makes no sense for us to compare one to the other because of that uniqueness, and because we're all here for our own unique life purpose. And so, how do you deal with a jealous energy from somebody? I think it depends also on how you're reacting to that jealousy, because there's different ways that we can react to it, isn't there? So one thing I would say is, if you feel yourself judging that person, let go of the judgment, because that's not going to help you. That's just going to also put you in competition. So you're going to be matching them on the competition, and it will feel worse if you get into judgment. Don't let your ego get a hold of it, because your ego might be like, oh yeah, they think I'm better. And of course they do, because I am. So don't let your ego cling on to it either, because then again, you'll be matching the competition and be in competition with them. And also remember, it's not your job to heal the other person of their jealousy. It's not your job to correct them. Only they can learn not to be jealous. You know, maybe right now it's part of their path to go through that. So the best thing you can do is to cultivate a kind of neutrality and about them. And so again, that grounding and centering meditation will help you to release what comes up for you. So if you get triggered and you start to be competitive, or your ego gets triggered in some way, or you can release that using the grounding, and you can use the centering technique to be neutral. So again, we just accept, well, that person's jealous. Okay, that's where they are. You know, it's only going to affect you if you get hooked in some way through your ego, through your judgment. But if you can be neutral, then that's fine. So we might also ask the question, why is that being attracted into your life? Because usually that is a reflection. There's something that you're wanting to teach yourself from having jealous people. So you could just take a moment to look at that. Well, I mean, the other thing that's coming up is it looks like something that might happen with you is that you feel then guilty. You know, maybe guilty for what you have. And then maybe feel like, well, you shouldn't have it. And so that's not true either. You deserve everything that you have. And it's the other person who's believing that they can't have it. And so again, it's like, let go of any guilt that you might feel around the idea that that person's jealous of you because you've got something that they don't. Again, just be neutral and let that be their issue. And, you know, so it looks like it's partly in your life to allow you to validate yourself and allow yourself permission to be who you are and have what you have and not make any apologies for it. All right, so I hope that that's been helpful. Is it time for another
Yes,
break?
it is, Dr. Lesley. Time for another break.
Okay, we'll go for a break and we will be back after these messages. And boy, the show is going quickly tonight. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Unlocking Your Truth. We're answering everybody's questions. So let us have it. What questions do you have?
Oh, would you like me to say one?
Yeah, seeing as I can't see them, that would be helpful.
Yeah, this is from Karen. Karen says, my ex wants to get back together. Why am I having such a hard time deciding? Can I have a message from my spirit team in regards to this? Thank you.
Okay, doke. Yeah, so this is relating to which voice should I listen to? And we would always say, listen to the voice of your higher being. And I'm seeing in this instance, one of the things that is happening is that you're not just dealing with your energy and what you want, you're dealing with his energy and what he wants. And his energy and what he wants is confusing you because that is in your space as well. Now, if you've been listening to the whole show, you know that the theme that seemed to be coming up was about use your heart as a compass. But this is one instance where I would kind of caution against it. And I would say, yes, okay, what is your heart saying to you? But I would also say you need to be completely neutral. So you need to use that centering technique that's in the free downloadable meditation on my website so that you can be the neutral observer of this and use the grounding technique to clear his energy from your space. So why you're having such a hard time deciding is because it's not just you in there in your energy field. He's there with you and he's going, yeah, let's get back together. Let's get back together. But is that what you really want? And you won't know until you've moved his energy out of your space and you've just got you in there. And I certainly won't tell you what you should do. That's for you to meditate on. But I would just recommend move him out of your space, and then you may find you have a clearer sense of what it is that you want. Next question.
Okay, next question. And this question's from Dennis. And Dennis says, any comments about opening chakra DA''AT from Kabbalah? I have not been successful in opening dot, and I'm looking for a technique. And he has another question here. I'll leave that until you do that.
Well, I am not an expert in the Jewish Kabbalah, so I don't feel qualified to answer that question, Dennis, about that. If you can tell me in the Western system what energy center that relates to, I can answer it from that perspective. But I'm not a scholar of the Kabbalah.
Yeah. That is a location, mystical state where all 10 Sephirot in the tree of life are united as one. In Dot, all Sephirot exist in their perfected state of infinite sharing.
Okay, I understand. It's basically what I would call oneness. Okay, let me take a look. So he's trying to. So you're in a body, Dennis. You're in a body, and so that state of oneness is. I mean, one might say it's our. Well, so think about divine source, the ultimate point of radiance, the ultimate one that gives rise to the many. And so we are part of the many that have chosen to be an individuated consciousness. And then you're asking about having the experience of oneness. I believe that's what you're asking in my words, the way that I would say it. Well, again, we seem to be talking a lot about the heart chakra, is a gateway to experiencing oneness through the human system. Let me look at your energy and see what else we would say about this. The other thing is, well, it will sound like I'm digressing, but I'm not really. All the great spiritual masters that were here in a body, who showed us the way, were showing us how to connect with the divine from the perspective of being in the human body. And so it looks like one of the things that you might be encountering is almost like wanting to free yourself from the body, as opposed to transform what is within the body that is out of alignment with your higher being. So the idea would be to focus on healing yourself and clearing what's out of alignment within yourself, because the more that you are in alignment within yourself, the more capable you are of having the experience of oneness. Okay, so we don't necessarily want to escape from the body in order to have that experience, because why create the body in the first place? So I hope some of that has helped you. Like I said, I mean, you know what? I did have a phase in my 20s where I was into the Kabbalah, but it's such a long time ago. You know, I can't remember what each one of the Sephiroth or whatever they're called means. But thank you for your question. So yes, don't ask me about motor car mechanics or you know.
What's a motor car, Lesley?
Yes, that's not
Oh,
my expertise.
okay, I have another one I think you might have a little bit of an issue with. The same from
Dennis.
Denise. Is Dennis or Denise?
It's Dennis. I know who it is.
Yeah, okay. Who are the hooded?
Dennis who just booked a session with me.
Yeah, who are the hooded figures that appear in the cinema of life, whereby spirits watch a holographic life review of another spirit? They seem to take
Can you start
trouble.
again? Can you please start again? Because I missed the beginning of that.
Who are the hooded figures that appear in the cinema of life, whereby spirits watch a holographic life review of another spirit? They seem to take the troubled spirits away. Who are they? This is a movie that was in the European, whatever the film festival is.
So he's talking about a film. He's not talking about a spiritual experience he's had.
Yes,
he's talking about
correct.
a film he's watched. And I haven't watched that film.
No.
So he's saying that there are this idea in this film of hooded spirits who are watching other spirits go through their life review and then appear to be taking them away.
No, this is a different person.
Is it?
This is Denise, not
Okay.
Dennis. This is Denise.
Okay. I've not seen that film. But I can make a comment on people having their life review, which is something that happens to us when we pass away. We get to see our life as a whole and look at, you know, and learn as much as we can from the life that we've lived. And it is something that is way more, in a way more sensory than it is when we're living it, because in the life review you get not only to look at yourself and have a different perspective on yourself, but you also get to see all the other participants and how they were feeling and what they were thinking and what the consequences of all the different events were on them, and all of that kind of thing. And so, you know, you are helped to review your life and to learn from it. And there are guides and energy beings who are available to assist you in that, and also take you, you know, steps beyond that phase into what the next steps your consciousness will be moving into as you're transitioning out of that life into, you know, whatever is going to come next to you. So it sounds like that's what was being portrayed in that film, something similar to that.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Lesley. And folks, again, please, if you haven't given us a like, or if whether on Facebook or on YouTube, please do so if you're enjoying the show. And this is from Shannon. Shannon says, "Hello, lovely Lesley and Mr. Corey. You've been such wonderful guides in my life. Thank you. My question is, I want to attract and service multi-million-dollar clients. I've had some success with Facebook ads, different lead sources, and my broker handed me one lead. But what do you suggest to manifest this when currently what I focus on and look at is clients in the $350 range, 350 to 800K range?"
Okay, so I think there's a couple of things here. And Shannon, I know that you've had some mentoring sessions with me, and I can't remember if you've done the Unlock Your Intuition course. So maybe just let me know if you have. Because there is in module 8 of that course is a manifestation technique that you could go and review and use. The other thing I would say is, in a way, it's like, look at your financial set point. So give us a moment. Yeah, it's interesting, because on the one hand, I'm seeing there's nothing stopping you. There's nothing stopping you from attracting those high value clients. On the other hand, there seems to be a, and it's not exactly a barrier, but it's just an energy. It's sort of like, I see that there's like nothing stopping you. And yet at that $350,000 mark, there's some kind of influence. Let's call it an influence, because it's not a straight block. So it looks like it's programming that comes from somewhere outside of you. So one of the things that you could do is look at who the key influences are in your life. And you could look at your parents, you could look at your mom and look at your dad and say, what are their beliefs about attracting money? And if either of those has blocks to attracting money, then that's your answer. That you've got someone else's influence, maybe a collection of people who, so it's funny, it's like you're believing you can do it. At the same time, there's this sneaky little, yeah, but I don't believe you can do it. So it's just owning your conviction more powerfully, and not giving in to how other people see you. And use your techniques to clear limits to manifesting. And if you did do unlock your intuition, go and do the manifestation technique, the mock-up technique. And maybe I've taught it to you in a mentoring session. So that's my suggestions for Shannon.
True.
Next.
Also, go knock on doors of houses that are in the $1 million range. Okay, this is from Lorraine. And Lorraine says, I have just discovered, I think that we have show up. Just put a link on for foot chakras and finger chakras, and you can find a couple other ones that you'll.
It's breaking up. I can't hear you. You're like one of those microphones that sort of goes, you only hear half of what you say.
Okay, let's try it again.
Try again.
I've just, I think I'm getting feedback from you, Dr. Lesley. Anyway, I've just put in a link for finger chakras and foot chakras, which includes the fingers.
What was the question?
I've just discovered the chakras in my fingers. Have you ever had a show on this topic?
Oh, okay, yeah. And
3 of them, I think.
The chakras in your fingertips are linked to the main chakras, and how they're hooked up is a bit different for each person. So that's probably, yeah. So thank you, Corey. That's great. That's a great reference to go listen to that podcast.
Yeah. And this will be our last question, Dr. Lesley. I had a dream 3 nights in a row about my grandmother's house. She wasn't there. Most of the dreams include family or friends, food, kitchen, dining area, and it was Thanksgiving. I have pulled a few messages from the dream. I think from the dream that I think matter, but is there any message I didn't see with these dreams overall?
And whose question is that?
That's SG.
Yeah, it might take me a little bit longer than the time we've got with it being, how much time have we got, Corey?
Well, 2 minutes maybe.
2 minutes. Yeah, I feel a bit under pressure. I feel like I'd like to look around in this dream a little bit. So
Okay, well, we're
Okay.
probably almost over time anyway.
Okay.
Also, there's a question on life purpose. I've put that link in as well, so that if anybody wants to look that one up, I put the podcast link in, which is it's a pretty good life purpose one. But we have probably a half a dozen, if not more, life purpose podcasts that you can glean from.
Yeah.
Anyway, Dr. Lesley, that's it, and we won't be back till after Christmas, after New Year's. I think, Dr. Lesley, you were saying. Let me pull the calendar up.
Oh, you're looking for the next date that we'll be doing it. Well, I guess that we're having 2 weeks off, and then we'll be back on the 3rd.
On the
of
3rd,
January.
yes. Yeah. So everybody have a great holiday season. Enjoy.
And we do have a couple of podcasts on the spiritual meaning of Christmas and the symbolism of Christmas. So you could go to the podcast feed and search for those if you want to listen to us over the Christmas holidays. Yeah.
And so thank you all. And I guess we're going to call that